Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our Math Online Classroom and nasa Module 2 pa rin tayo. So, medyo natagalan yung paggawa natin ng video kasi napaka-hirap talagang mag-check ng mga modules and mag-sort. Mas mahirap pa siya sa pag-print. Okay, so we are with our lesson 5 and of course it talks about the domain of functions. Now I believe na importante na ma-discuss natin ito kasi magagamit natin to kapag nag-discuss na tayo ng graphing of rational functions. So importante ito. Okay, so our objectives today are the following: define the domain of functions, solve the domain of functions, and identify the domain of a function using set builder and or roster form. So, no module 1 pa lang, hinahanap na natin yung domain, pero hindi ko siya masyadong na-discuss, no? Kasi nakalimutan ko yata. Okay, so eto bibigyan natin ng chance. Alright? Sige. So, let's start here. A rational function can be written in the form f of x is equal to nx over dx. At alam nyo na yan. Where n and x and dx are polynomials and dx is not the zero polynomial. So, yan yung ating rational function and paulit-ulit natin yung i-identify before. Okay? So, ano yung domain? The domain of a rational function f of x is equal to nx over dx is all the values of x that will not make d of x equal to 0. So, ganun siya kasimple. So, what do you mean by domain daw? The domain daw is any real number of x. So, yung x, kapag pinalitan natin, will not make the denominator equal to 0. So, yun ang tatandaan natin. So, our domain is the values of x that will not make the denominator equal to 0. Yan yung importante, ha? Yan lang, oh. All the values of x that will not make d of x or the denominator equal to 0. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan, let's have this example. Give the domain of the following rational function. Number 1, f of x is equal to 1 over x. Okay, so our numerator is 1 and our denominator is x, or our n of x is 1 and our d of x is x. Okay, so solution. Ano nga ibig sabihin ng domain natin? That all values of x that will not make the denominator 0. So ano yung denominator natin sa ating problem? Yung denominator natin is x. So yung tanong ko na lang, what will make our denominator 0? Ano yung value ng x na kapag pinilitan natin yan ay magiging 0 yung kanyang sagot? Of course, that is 0. Tama? So the restricted x value of f is 0. Hence, the domain of f is the set of all the real numbers except 0. So ganun lang siya kadali. Kapag ganun yung problem, titingnan mo lang yung denominator. Sa denominator na yan, paano, or anong number ang magiging 0 ang denominator? Of course, yung x natin dyan is x lang. So pag pinitan mo ng 0, so 0. So automatic, 0 is not part of the solution or 0 is not part of our domain. Okay? So, ganun na siya kadali. Yes. So, paano mo siya isusulat with your final answer? Okay, hindi pangit naman na words. Okay, so we could have two methods. So we have the method 1 using the set builder notation. So paano siya gagawin? Ito. So our domain, kapag binasa mo siya, the set of all x is an element of real numbers such that x is not equal to 0. So you can use that formula, you can use that form to write your final answer. Again, basahin siya. That our domain, of course, is the set of all x is an element of real numbers such that x is not equal to 0. Okay? So, yung solution natin doon ng mga words sa taas, yan din yung ibig sabihin ng ating method 1. Okay? So, napakadali din siya. So, ganun kayo kapag dapat sumulat ng final answer. Or we could have our method 2 or using the roster form. Sa roster form natin, we are using number line as our guide. So, halimbawa, gagawa tayo ng number line. So, in our problem, f of x is equal to 1 over x, yung hindi daw pwede is 0. So, ibig sabihin, yung 0 is not part of our domain. That's why hollow circle. Okay? Nakahollow siya. Okay, so circle siya na walang laman kasi yung 0 is not part of the solution. So from -1 to -infinity, and from positive 1 to positive infinity, yan lang yung magiging solution natin. Okay? So again, yung 0 hindi kasama sa solution. So yung solution lang natin is from negative 1 to negative infinity and positive 1 to positive infinity. So paano mo siya gagawan ng rooster form? So ganito lang. Siguro nakakita na kayo nito. So our domain is union. Okay? Itong letter U na to, parang symbol to is union of negative infinity and 0 and positive infinity, or we can simplify that as our domain is from negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? So bakit dito may yung 0 at ano ibig sabihin ng close parenthesis dito sa 0? Ibig sabihin ng close parenthesis dito sa 0, ibig sabihin 0 is not part of the solution. So pero pag halimbawa yung 0 is part of the solution, yung parenthesis dito, papalitan mo lang ng bracket. Okay? Yung bracket is yung parang letter C siya na may edge. Okay? So, ganun na siya kadali. Okay? Sige. Next, let's have example number 2. Our g of x is equal to x over x minus 1. So, let's have our solution. Again, yung denominator natin ay hindi dapat mag-equal to 0 kapag pinalitan ng value ng x. So, ibig sabihin, our denominator, x minus 1, must not be equal to 0. So, yung gagawin natin, so we will just transpose negative 1 sa kabilang side. So, we'll have x is equal to 1. So, ibig sabihin, our x must not be equal to 1. Okay? So, our x is not equal to 1. So, paano mo siya sasagutan? Okay? Or paano ka gumawa ng final answer using our method 1? So, we could use the set Boulder notation. So, we will have our domain will be the set of all x is an element of real numbers such that x is not equal to 1. Okay? So, ganun siya kadali. Our x is a set of an element of real numbers such that x is not equal to 1. Di ba? Mas madali sa method 1. Or pwede rin itong si method 2 using the rooster form. So, using our number line, okay, so ano yung restriction natin? Our restriction is positive 1. So our 1 is not part of the solution. So from 0 to negative infinity and from 2, or let's say greater than positive 1 to positive infinity is part of our solution. So paano siya gagawa ng notation or ng rooster? Okay, ganito. So our union of negative infinity and from 1 and positive infinity. So yung 1 natin is naka-open parenthesis. Okay? So open parenthesis siya kasi our 1 is not part of the solution. Okay? Again, our 1 is not part of the solution. Pero kung ang 1 is solution siya, so yung gagawin natin dyan is a closed bracket, yung ganun, or open bracket, yung ganun. Okay, yung parang letter C na may edge. Pero since yung 1 is not part of the domain, so hindi siya solution. That's why open parenthesis yung ginagamit. Okay? Sige. Next, let's have the example number 3. H of x is equal to x plus 1 over x squared minus 4. Okay? So again, yung denominator natin, it will not be equal to 0. So, hindi dapat siya mag-equal to 0. So, x squared minus 4 must not be equal to 0 kasi yan yung ating denominator, di ba? So, hindi siya pwede maging 0 kasi magiging undefined yung ating solution. So, of course, we are going to factor x squared minus 4 at yung factor niya is x plus 2 and x minus 2. At alam nyo na yan sa factoring natin. Okay? So, i-equate natin si x plus 2 and x minus 2 to 0. Okay? So, yung x plus natin must not be equal to 0. Okay, so our x must not be equal to negative 2 and our x must not be equal to positive 2. So, yan yung solution natin. So, paano siya gagawa ng paano tayo gagawa ng final answer? We can have our method 1. Okay, so our domain, no? Our domain is what? The set of all x is an element of real numbers such that our x is not equal to positive and negative 2. Okay, so mas madali siyang gawin. Or we could have our method 2 using our guide number line, no? So our negative 2 and positive 2 are our restrictions. So ibig sabihin, from negative 3 to negative infinity, is part of our solution. if our x is less than -2 and less than +2, it's still part of the solution. And from if x is greater than +2 to positive infinity, still part of the solution. So paano mo siya gagawa ng rooster form? Okay? So our domain will be the union of, ito union of negative infinity and -2 and +2 and positive infinity. Again, union of negative infinity and -2 and +2 and positive infinity. Okay, again, bakit naka-close parenthesis siya? Parenthesis yung ginamit natin kasi -2 is not part of the solution or not part of the domain. Same with the +2, parenthesis yung ginamit natin kasi hindi siya part ng solution. Pero kung part siya ng solution, ano yung gagawin natin? Gagamit tayo ng bracket instead of parentheses. Okay? Ganun lang siya kasimple. So I hope na may natutunan kayo. Of course, our references. Okay? So, thank you.